We did have some pictures of a MaGrav unit by, what's the name again? Angelo Daul. And, but you haven't seen these yet. I'm not sure. It's just a homemade MaGrav unit that's submerged in fluid. And he thought that it was appropriate to the topic at hand, as far as the feeling of fields and that sort of thing. That's why he created this particular MaGrav, just not for just power, apparently. So would you like to have some questions from Angelo?
Can we have a look at it? Why not?
Sure. Okay. So Angelo, if you want to open your microphone there and introduce yourself, perhaps.
Yes, hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Keshe. My name is Angelo Daul. I'm from Keshe Foundation, Romania. And regarding your teaching about a year ago, your public teaching, you said about and learned us about the plasma liquids at that time. And in some point, you bring a MaGrav unit and a big bucket, and you said, okay, if you understand now the plasma liquids, now is the time to take your MaGrav unit and put it in a big bucket and fill it up with all the plasma liquids you have and see what it will be. Okay, so I did this because in this 1 year I saw nobody to do this, so I did it. And it is a normally homemade MaGrav power unit, but I disassembled it and I put it together and I immersed it in all the plasma liquids I have at that time at home. And my question is, I have a lot of questions, but my purpose doing this was to go above, to go further in this understanding, because I think, Mr. Keshe, you make this announcement to do this with some purpose, and I think this purpose is it's not about energy, it is about something else. And my purpose with this was and is to create an environment, because I think, because the interactions of all the plasma liquids, that's like a dielectric in this case, will make a huge plasma field. And I think this plasma field can be very useful in our home for it's like a second sun, if I can say so, for a peaceful environment, for feeding, maybe for elevating our souls in a plasmatic way, not in the way you mentioned it some minutes ago, I understand. And yes, these are my questions. I did this for a peaceful application, but maybe you can go further with your explanations about the thinking to submerge MaGrav unit in plasma liquid. Why to do this, and what we can expect about all of it. In that teaching, you not mentioned if we have to plug it in or not. So I did this in a way that the connections are above the water, and so it is safe. And at this time it is plugged in. But I don't know how you think about it and how you want to do this. So please, if you can give us some explanations about it, I will be very thankful. Thank you.
There are a couple of things. First of all, have you connected it to the main?
Yes, yesterday.
And what is the outcome?
In voltage,
Yeah.
200.
Have you blown up the fuse?
No, no, because all the connections are above the water, so just the unit goes through the water.
You mean the stacker unit in the water?
Yes, all the 3 stacker units are in the plasma liquid, but the connections and the capacitors are above. You can see it's above the water.
It is a very interesting point, and this was one of the reasons I suggested this. I remember that time. If you do such a thing with a normal wire and submerge units in the water, we know what it does. It blows a fuse, you have an explosion or whatever. But this does not happen. Because you put the Gans material in it, you have replicated the operation of the work of the human body. We don't short circuit. There is a step into this you have to be very careful with, is that you have put this in a Gans water and you put the thing inside another Gans tank. The Gans waters you should use for the two has to be different. You have to have a gradient of the flow towards your coils. You will find, if it's done correctly, you create a very powerful system. In the second container at the bottom of the plastic, if you place a fair amount of gas itself, not just the liquid, you create an energy source. It's just literally a plasmatic battery. If you look at it, and if you have studied, or if I can show part of the solar system books, which is book number 4, you see this process. Nanomaterial in conjunction with the plasma, leading to creation of massive amount of energy. You will receive 2 kinds of energy. Depends how you tap into it. One is as normal as you plug your system in, is a 220, 110 simultaneously. But if you redirect the energy flow, you will find a massive power supply. In your 3 stacker, I reckon something about 40 kilowatt, 100 kilowatts should be easy. But you have to understand what you do and what you're doing with it. In the process with the other coils, like the MaGrav system, we put a limited fixed amount of power on the coil. Now with the Gans and what you put in there, there is no limitation. It's how you collect it. If you show this to any man of physics, electrical engineers, electronic engineers, they tell you you're absolutely crazy. How can you put a wire inside the water and you still get power out of it? That's why I said, have you plugged it in to confirm there is no short circuit, even though you're working, operating in a liquid environment. You have to create a mixture gas that there is an inflow. You have to create an energy gap that is strong enough that it goes to the center column. Where you got that piece has to be lower in strength compared to the liquid, that it creates the liquid trying to feed it, that the energy crosses the coil and it delivers the energy. The choice of the gas and the gas material will have a direct effect in how you can harvest energy from this system. There are papers done in 1998, 1999 by the Russian scientists looking at the core of the solar system, and their evaluation is exactly as you see. You are not pouring water in, you are pouring against water. So everything is in a state of the transition of the energy. You have to choose where you put the yellow stone. Has to be a very heavy, attracting light Gans. I'm going to show you if I can use can you give me an option to be able to, okay, I've got it.
You should be able to annotate right on the screen there.
Yes, I'm trying to do, it's just, okay. You see, you need a very high, let me choose a better color that you can see. Use a black. You use a very high density, high strength Gans here. You use in between here, and you use a very much weaker. So let's say you choose CO2 plus zinc oxide plus other heavy elements in 1. In 2, you choose element of CO2 and let's say copper and something else. In center, you only choose CO2. You can use both gases or liquid gases. The direction of the flow from the stronger to the weaker will cross your boundary of the energy and will deliver energy into the nano layers, which at the end you can extract. With the present coils, we nano coat and then Gans coat. With this, what you don't see is a dynamic flow. These fields here are very dynamic. So they create a rotation that the energy keeps on gathering. The more you use the system, the higher powers you can get. If you do it properly, you can go easily to 100 kilowatts. And these wires will take it, they are strong enough because you don't use the wires, you're using the coating. Your operation outside, filters and capacitors are not necessary. The problem you'll have will be your capacitors. You have to remove those capacitors, because they have elements of the paper and the others, and they cannot take high voltage, high current.
I understand. Just mention it about what you are saying. If I understand correct, I don't need to Gans coat these coils in this case.
No, because the material you have is against you put the plasma liquid. You see, you look at the material and just you see water. But in reality, your Gans material carries certain amounts. If you don't filter it the way we do in the factory, you, what do you call it? You have some gases floating in there. Armand did a test. Was it how long ago, Armand? Last year you did a test where we put pure plasma water, and when you put it in the bowl, there was some, we could see some residual of Gans in the boundary. When you spin it to high, and you could see with pure, even purified, you still, unless you purify the way we do with filtering, you have some gases there. So that's the process of what you call energy supply. In the bottom bucket, you can add easily any kind of gases that you make it heavier to do, but the thing is the whole energy will sit at the bottom. If you can hang columns of gases. We bought something very interesting recently with Caroline. It's a spiral glass. And what is interesting with the spiral glass, the whole Gans stays equal among more or less the whole spiral. I think it's about 8 to 10 turn on it, and the Gans doesn't go all the way to the bottom. When I got it, I thought this will be like as you fill up a tube, will go to the bottom. But adhesion to the tube, it shows that the Gans stays right across the whole of the tube. So you have a balanced distribution. There is a picture of it. If Caroline is online and she can take it, we can see it. Caroline, are you in the background? Hello?
Yes, what would you like, please?
Do you know the bottles of the water with the spiral coil? Can you take a picture and send it to me?
The ones I showed downstairs.
Yeah, the ones here with the water in it.
Okay, to where do you want me to send it, please?
Send it to Rick and the Rick can add it, we show it. You, for a system like this, you need that kind of operation, that equal energy is transferred to the coils.
Yes, and Mr. Keshe, exactly at that point, I want to add something. After I filled up this whole bucket with the Gans waters, about 2 hours after, the liquid plasma colors a little bit. It became goldish
Is it
somehow.
bluish? What color?
No, it is gold color.
Gold color.
Yellow brownish.
This is the copper. Yeah, this is the copper which comes from the atomic structure, which is nano-sized, but hasn't become. It still is an atomic condition of the copper. We see this quite often, or becomes green sometimes. But that's normal.
But
Can
what
I-
is it?
Can
Yes.
I ask?
Pardon?
Can I ask you something so I can send it in one go? Sorry to disturb you. It is already gone into process. You want one of the process as well? Mr. Keshe?
No, just the ones which are on the table.
Okay.
The ones which are on the table, because you see it's very interesting. It doesn't follow the law of physics to go all the way to the bottom. It stays equally distributed.
Yeah, and this is what I saw in this case. This liquid plasma have a color, but normally if this color comes from the Gans coating from the coils, because they are Gans coated in gradients, but with a very, very light Gans, so almost nothing stays on the coils. But in a very interesting way, nothing settles down in these bottles. So about 3 days, it stays stable. It has this color, but nothing on the bottom. And if it would be Gans, in the time normally it has to settle down, but it doesn't settle down. So it's interesting.
No, the reason is because it's interesting. If you understand the process, it'll be much more interesting. This is the way in our body our atomic structure is held. All the iron doesn't go to our foot, and all the zinc doesn't go to our foot. In a Gans state, everything is everything, literally what you have created is a total virtual Gans state, total virtual plasmatic condition. So what you see in suspended condition is a copper which is in a way gravitational magnetically spacing itself. What you see is correct, and it is that's because your bucket is full of Gans, so you are already what do you call it, in a Gans state. Positioning comes into operation. This is how our body stands up. The water is there, and the atomic molecular structure positions itself, and it gives us height, it gives us thickness. But you have a fixed copper condition. If you, for example, had different rings of copper, let's say nickel, and anything else, you would have start seeing a structure building up. Marco did this about 2 years ago. That's how we built the brain cells. We added, we mixed it, and then you create a structure, solid structure.
Yes, thank you. And about the fields.
Pardon?
About the fields they are creating in this case. Can we benefit near energy
Yes.
from
Yes.
these fields? Because I think
Yep.
it is a very mixed plasma field.
It's not a mix. You have with a structure like this, you should be able to achieve certain physical changes and certain emotional changes, because all the elements in there is not copper, it's some zinc too. And if you have chosen a zinc mixture, you should be able to see the aura of the container.
In the dark or in the light?
You get the aura, which the machines which can show the magnetic field around the human body. You should be able to see it with this one very easily. And then you find out the extent of it, and by the color you can tell if you feel, if it's near the emotional strength fields or is it near the what do you call it, physical strength.
I understand, thank you.
Yeah,
And,
but try to create a dynamic or a spiral fields that every ring gets the same. You'll find this is a very powerful system. And if you show it to any physicist and electrician, they'll say you're crazy. You cannot put wires and get energy out of it in liquid.
I understand, thank you. I have one question, if I may, about Gans of Ganses. I made a reactor to make Gans of Ganses from hemoglobin. And I don't know if it is correct, but I made two type of hemoglobin, like you said. One type is iron between nano-coated copper and zinc, and the type 2 is iron between nano-coated zinc and zinc. I collected this hemoglobin, but interesting from my point of understanding, the hemoglobin forms just on the nail, exactly on the interaction field with the amino acid. On the bottom of these reactors, I have something else, something between CH3 and zinc oxide, I think. And I collected just
You
this.
have made the ganses of hemoglobin, yeah?
Yes, I try to do this, and if Rick can leave me to share this picture, if you can, that you can say what I did, and if it is correct. May I?
Yeah, carry on. We were talking about this yesterday. Was it?
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So this is the reactor, and I made in these two bottles. Everything was nano coated before. No. So I nano coated the bucket. I nano coated these little things. In that came the Gans. After then I made a capacitor, but in the capacitor I used just the Ganses from the bottom of the two reactors, nothing else. So this is the capacitor. And after then I filled up these two in, these are two types of hemoglobin, but also I made a volume gradient between the two. After them, I put them in this reactor, and I filled the reactor up with the Gans waters from these two reactors. So not fresh water with salt. It is the same Gans water from these reactors. You can see the reactors there. On the left side is type 2, that means nano-coated zinc and zinc, and here is the iron nail. And in the reactor from the right side is nano-coated copper with zinc and the iron. And this is hemoglobin type 1. And like I said, here, if you can see my mouse, here is the point of interaction with the amino acid, and from my point of understanding, just this here is hemoglobin, not what is on the bottom. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yeah, but why don't you collect it at that point? That's correct.
I collected, but just this red stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is hemoglobin type 2, the reactor from type 2 with nano-coated zinc and zinc, and you can see the color.
See what you can do. Let me just 1 second. Just stay where you are. If you put the same iron on the copper side, on the nano-copper side,
yes,
you will see the difference, and you can use the two as a potential difference in the strength. But there'll be a different blood. This is what we call the blood cells with what you use on the zinc side. They carry their strength at the emotional level. The ones on the copper side carry strength on the physical emotional level. If you put one zinc, one stick, iron stick in the middle between the two places, you will see the difference too.
Yes, I saw this. I made them in many ways. I have sometime this iron nail between the two plates, and it was another color.
Yeah. So what you are doing, what do you collect? What have you collected between the two ganses?
What I put in these little jars was just this type.
Yes,
not from the bottom.
But when you collect, what do you collect when you put the two in the tubes, as you showed us?
I don't have pictures, but I put out the nail, and I washed the nail with some plasma water from the reactor. And
No. What I'm trying, the picture you're showing us now, yeah?
Yeah.
When you run this, what do you collect at the bottom?
I don't know what I collect. It runs about 1.5, maybe 2 weeks, this reactor. I have a lot of amino acid on the top, and on the bottom it's a very, very thin and fine powderish something. But if I look from above, it is transparent. I cannot see it. But if I look from the side, then I can see this 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter of Gans, I think. And
there are two flaws with this. First of all, you have 2 nanomaterials in the tube.
Yes.
It would have been easy. So now you created what you're collecting at the bottom, you're creating another Gans because you got the 2 elements.
Yes.
Just happened to be in the Gans of blood. So as I've suggested before, fill up the Ganses as it is. Don't put a wire in. Connect the 2 tubes together with a liquid of each one that they can mix.
Yes.
And then watch what you produce at the bottom. That is the Gans of the Gans. Here you're looking at the material, you see the fat on the top, but in reality it's the 2 elements you dropped in. This is not a Gans processing. You connect it, as I've said in other teaching, just take those 2 wires out, you put a capacitor in there, just connect it to a wire. On the top there will be mixture of the 2. On the bottom, they stay as they are. And then you see what you collect.
So you mean I not need the capacitor, I need a tube with the mixture of the Ganses.
Yeah, let's see what it is. In a way, you got to get rid of this, you got to get rid of this, you got to get rid of this.
Yes.
All you need is a tube, yeah? You leave your Ganses here, and then you allow the system to work and see what it produces. This has to be a salt water. And with this thing, you can go with the minus salt, which is about 0.5, or go plus to 1.5.
I use the water from the reactors to be in Gans state.
No.
So
Yeah,
you can
could do,
fresh water.
Yeah, you can use, if you stay in a Gans condition, then you produce a Gans, what do you call it? But try to use the liquid Gans from CO2. You'll find a very good result. Or you can add, what do you call it? Certain amount of CH3 in the process, outside, not inside.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's
And,
fantastic to see what you've done. But go a step further, and then what you actually can create here. If you can put a pipette in, whatever you create here is the Gans of the difference between the two elements.
Yes, this was my question. What I produce and for what purpose I can.
What you produce, it's very much, if you look at it, you have a blood from the copper side, which is the physical side, you have a blood from the emotional side, and I'll tell you something you'll find very strange here. If you pick up the field of the Gans here, and you can test this Gans.
Yes, that was my purpose, but I was not sure if I understand it correctly. Yes, but I have to...
This is at a matter level.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for such a beautiful job. Thanks for sharing it with us.
It's my pleasure, and thanks for all your teachings.
Or is there any other question?